Okay, Paco Delgado, congratulations on your recent Oscar nomination for The Danish Girl. It's your second one overall. How did
Hmm.
it feel to get nominated again?
Well, it feels great. What can I say? That's a very easy answer.
All right, so with this film, you have to transform Eddie Redmayne with the help of some hair and makeup and some acting into this transgender pioneer, Lily Elba. Talk about how you did that. Where did you start?
Well, I mean, the thing is, obviously, I mean, that as you say, a little help of acting, no, a lot of help of acting, actually. Because I mean, the thing is, I mean, you had to dress actors, and and in the case of Eddie, Eddie is an amazing actor. Then how did we do it? How did we do it? I mean, basically, with a lot of help and a lot of communication between both of us. We were very lucky because we already knew each other and we were like very confident in each other. And we started working a long time before we did the preparation for the movie, just trying to find out what sort of like shapes, colors, fabrics were the key ones to try to show Eddie in the best light as a real woman. And from the very beginning, we were really sort of like nicely surprised that we could make out of him a really sort of like interesting female character. Um, yeah, I mean, that was the whole thing, like working, basically trying to find out very out of stress because we had the time to start, like, playing with, as I said, with fabrics, trying to hide things like, for example, that he has got like a bone structure that is like very masculine, and what sort of like colors were softening him up, what sort of shapes were the good ones to hide his masculine body, all these sort of things.
Hmm. We also have to faithfully recreate the fashions of that period and of that place. So, can you talk about the research you did in that regard?
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, I mean, we had two different sort of like lines of action for the research. One very important one is like to see how the real actual Lily and Gerda looked, and that came from photographs of the period. We went to the to the Danish Royal Library, and they had a section, about Lily and Gerda, and they had like real photographs. We also had the paintings that they produced, because we can't forget that they were painters, and in their paintings, especially Gerda used to portray Lily quite a lot. I mean, Lily was her muse. And then apart from that, as you said, it was very important to see how the fashions of the period were, and in that way, I just like researched quite a lot, basically in some important designers of the period. One of them was um, Chanel, that I took a lot of inspiration for, mainly for Gerda, because Chanel made a really sort of like modern woman, a woman who was into the society, working, and it wasn't like a sort of like, it was like a very dynamic woman, and I thought Gerda will fit into that idea. And for Lily, at the beginning of the movie, I did a lot of research on Lanvin. Jean Lanvin created a sort of very theatrical dresses called robe de style, that they were like, she started like working with them at the end of their teens and the beginning of the 20s. And that helped us a lot to create this sort of like shape for Lily throughout the movie. But I mean, we had another inspirations as well. Madeleine Vionnet, that it was like a master of the fashions of the period as well. And then, I mean, a lot of things.
Hmm. What's also interesting is that, not only do you have to transform him into a believable woman, but, in the beginning of the movie, he's Einar, and then at the end of the movie, he's Lily. So you have to chart that progression, that transformation. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, well, I think the whole key for this character was, we never thought it was a man that became a woman. I mean, I think the whole key to understand how we design the character, and how we how we make the movies, like to think all the time that it was just one character called Lily that somehow was trapped in a body that didn't belong to her. And that was the first big sort of like key idea for the whole outfits that Eddie was wearing. I mean, we thought from the very beginning that Lily was trapped in a prison somehow, in a prison that she has to free from that. That's the reason at the beginning of the movie we do all these inner suits, like really with heavy wools and really tailored and really sort of like oppressive with high collars. It's very stiff, and little by little we start like freeing up. The collars started like getting lower. The fabrics were like getting softer. The colors at the beginning of the movie are really sort of like very hard colors, like blacks, blues, very metallic colors somehow. And then when we progress into the movie, when they move into Paris, they will start like using like silks with a lot of movement, more sensual, and also the palette, the color palette, open up to a more sensual and warm palette, like like more browns and oranges and pinks and reds, and for both characters actually. Then it was like that was the way that we thought about how to make it a whole progression. Also the other thing we thought is like at the beginning of the movie, when Lily was trying to find out how was her appearance as a woman, we try in a way to maybe to hyper feminize, or maybe to work harder. And also because we just thought that somebody who is not used to dress as a woman will make much more mistakes at the beginning that she will make when she is much more comfortable and confident with her new sort of persona. Then at the beginning of the movie we use more sort of artificial ideas, like the hair wasn't a really sort of like orange burnt, and she wore like much more makeup. And by the end of the movie, she was like we were like trying to make her to look more natural, and therefore more sort of like confident with herself as a woman.
You mentioned Gerda, and I think that it's easy to forget that you have to portray her character as well through costumes. Can you talk a bit more about her development?
Well, the thing is, as it happened with Lily. The thing is about these movies, like there are two, like I would say there are like, it's important plot in this movie that is to show how Lily developed, through the movie, and how becomes, is the story of her life. But we also have to remember that the whole, I would say, the whole central point sometimes of the movie is like a love story between these two characters, Gerda and Aina Lily. And then therefore we thought the process of her costume had to follow the same sort of line of thinking, at the beginning of the movie as well, because they are both living the same sort of life in a way, like they are confined in Denmark, in Copenhagen, in a very not very open society. Then it has to be like more restrictive for her as well. We use the same palette for Gerda that we were using for Aina, and also the same type of fabrics, the same tailored outfits. And then when they move to Paris, she follows up again the same sort of like the palette changes, and the fabrics get more sensual and more movement. And also because the other thing is, I just think it's not just the person who gets liberated who is freer. It's no more freer Lily because she gets to the point that she can be whoever she wants to be. Also the people around her, and especially Gerda, gets liberated as well, because it's like Lily's freedom is part of Gerda's freedom as well. By allowing Lily to be freer, she is allowing herself to be freer. Her mind changes through the movie as well. At the beginning, everything starts like a game, like a play, like they're playing, and then it is a point that Gerda gets scared, and that's, let's say, she starts like sort of like closing her mind to the whole idea of Lily becoming a woman. But then her sort of like amazing devotion and love for Lily frees Lily to become a woman, but also frees herself from her fears and and everything. Then I mean, I think we try to do the same sort of like game with the same color palette for both of them and the same sort of like fabrics and shapes somehow.
Mm-hmm. And what did Tom Hooper give you as a director? You'd worked with him before on Les Mis. What does he give you as a director that helps you with these choices?
Well, I mean, the thing is, this clue I told you before, that was the first thing he told me. He told me this movie is a love story about two people, and it happened that one of them is a woman who is trapped in a man's body. Mm-hmm. Then that was the first clue. He also said, because everyone now says your costumes are helping to tell the story, and they have they have they are like very sort of like they are like a main character somehow in themselves, maybe, because obviously through the costumes gender is explained or is shown to people in society through costumes mainly, But I mean, he said from the very beginning, I want you to design costumes that they are not going to be the center of the production. As in Les Mis, for example, costumes had a much more maybe prominent idea from the very beginning, because it was a musical and it was based in a book, but it had a much more sort of like fantasy approach. Whether here, because we were doing a biography, basically, in a way, he didn't want me to do very, very flamboyant and dresses over the top, because obviously as well you are always worried that when you say, I mean, it's a lot of confusion with people about what it means to be a transgender or a transformist or a travesti, then it's all these sort of things that I mean, you have to be really careful, because we are talking about something really serious, as is a woman that trying to be a woman and being a real one. Then he just didn't want to be like, he didn't want to go over the top with the costumes.
Mm-hmm. Well, congratulations on your nomination and on your work in the film, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.